Amongst Christians there is sometimes talk about the end of the world. Let's not discuss that today. Let's talk about the end of something else. We are very rapidly running out of victimizations, of victim identity. We've had the workers, then we had victimization according to race. You could be a worker because you could be a victim because you were oppressed as a worker, you were oppressed as a slave or as member of a certain race. And then somewhere in the 80s, especially in the 80s, all these ways of being a victim and thus being able to accuse others, they were enormously inflated by the way that sexuality could make us a victim. Sexual inclinations became a new breeding ground, if you like, pun not intended, for being a victim. And of course, it was always somebody else's fault. Someone else was guilty, and in the end, nature was guilty, God was guilty because of the way you didn't feel at home in your skin, or because you couldn't do what you felt like doing. And today there is really a Ponzi scheme going on, a Ponzi scheme of victimization. The 6 colors of the rainbow, I've never understood, by the way, why it is not 7 colors of the rainbow. The rainbow is a biblical symbol. It is also a scientific or a natural phenomenon, and we distinguish 7 colors. Why they chose only 6, I don't know the history of that, but those 6 colors were not sufficient. We now have new flags with many, many other colors added. You can hardly see the colors separately, distinguish them anymore. We are living in a Ponzi scheme of victimizations. We are running out of potential situations in which you can find yourself as a victim. And when I look at all the different kinds of sexual orientations that are now available to man to take upon himself as his identity, I've been wondering, what would God choose for us? If we want to be free to choose, we must give God also the freedom to choose. What would He choose for us? And there I must say, when reflecting on it, I must now openly recognize myself as being non-binary. And I think God is non-binary too. First of all, God is in eternity on His own. If there are 2 genders in humanity, it somehow reflects that there's 2 genders. That means womanhood and manhood in God Himself. It reflects something of His mystery. But I would say, why is humanity non-binary? It is because man and woman can never be explained only relative to each other. You cannot understand woman by explaining how man completes her, and you cannot explain man by the way that woman completes him. Creation, especially humanity, is non-binary. It is trinary. You cannot explain the distinction between womanhood and manhood, the difference, without first stating and helping to discover that man and woman have the same spiritual soul made to see God in eternity, in eternal light. But then when you want to explain and understand the wisdom, which means the ultimate purpose, the ultimate meaning of being man and woman, when you want to understand that, when you want to shed a light of wisdom upon the difference between man and woman, it is totally ridiculous, absurd, to do this without fertility, without fruitfulness. Creation is non-binary. Humanity is non-binary, it is trinary. You cannot understand man and woman without understanding the third person, which is the child, which can be a girl or a boy, as you may have heard. And especially in our time, when there is so much confusion about the difference between man and woman, but there is, I would say, not confusion, but a terrible silence about fertility, about having kids, founding a family. Especially in our times, it is very important for those who want to give the best to humanity, especially those who represent the God that revealed himself and that they have to pass on. Especially that means for those who are mediators in the church by their brains because they are theologians, or by the sacramental power that they have received, or by the fact that they have founded a Christian family, open to life. It is very important for all those people to make clear what it means that the human being is non-binary, it is trinary. Man needs woman, woman needs man, but a child needs a father, and a child needs a mother. If we don't restore fertility to its essential place as purpose of marriage, then we're not going to solve any problem. It's going to get worse. And because people don't hear from the church what they expect from the church, they will more and more despise the church and hate the church. And what is worse, the church will become completely irrelevant. So anybody representing the church in our times, he must be prepared to be hated first, because when he says the truth, people who consider themselves victims of nature and of God's creation, they will get angry. But then it's very important to reorient that anger, because it isn't just anger, but it's not because of the truth that those people are angry, but because they have been lied to. People who are gender confused, people have problems with their sexuality, they have been lied to by commercial advertising, by political propaganda. They could reconciliate themselves with nature, with God, and it will be liberating. They will get over that first anger. I'm convinced of that. If the church shuts up or wants to be trendy with liturgical vestments in rainbow colors, if the church and some even cardinals say this already, that it has to be done. If the church changes her theology, the church will become more irrelevant than it is already, but it will be even hated more than when it says the truth. So make your choice, make up your mind. Theologians, priests, any authority in the church, make up your mind. Be prepared to be hated because you say the truth, or prepare yourself to be hated even more because you have not said the truth. You've tried to be trendy, you've tried to be popular, you've tried to be with the world, whereas there's many souls in the world that expect the church to say the truth. When it does say the truth, they will get angry. If it does not say the truth, they will not just be angry, they will rage against the church and against the people of the church. They will rage against it because somewhere in the depth of the souls of people, they know that something is very wrong with our culture, with our civilization today. Because somehow we have tainted, we have damaged not just life, we are not just killing life before birth, but we have attained, we have offended, we have ruined life at its secret origin. People know that something is very wrong, but they are not allowed to say it, but they do expect it in the depths of their soul. They expect the church to say the truth. And if the people who represent the Holy Church do not say the truth, there will be a very just rage of the people, not just anger, because anger has a purpose, but there will be a blind rage against the church. So please, people who work for the church, be prepared, make up your mind. A purposeful anger in the beginning, or a blind rage which you will not be able to counter, because in the end it is God's rage. If people are angry at the church because it has not said the truth, you can be sure, even if those people do hate God, they represent God as a judge in their rage that is coming over you, that is coming upon you.